Welcome to the Nevada Author Network, a collaboration between the Sierra Arts Foundation and Two More Books. Recorded at the Depot Gallery and Bookstore in Sparks, Nevada. Each week we will interview a Nevada author and member of the Sierra Arts literary community. Our guest this week is Elaine Sargent.
Hi everybody, this is JT Hume from JT Amateur Hour, and that's the CC part of it. And we'd like to welcome you to the Nevada Authors Network. Why don't you tell us about it?
The Nevada Authors Network is a new podcast in collaboration with the Sierra Arts Foundation. We are highlighting local Nevada authors, and today we have with us Elaine Sargent, who has written this book. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey to writing the book?
Sure. My book is called Rhinestone Confidential, and I wrote it because I was working backstage costuming showgirls for 15 years at Harrah's Reno. And when Harrah's unexpectedly closed in 2020, I knew I had a story that was unusual and that people would be interested in learning about. A bit of my background also is that I was a journalism major up at the University of Nevada, Reno. So I had some experience writing, and some nights while I was backstage, I'd be thinking, this is a story, I need to write this. I need to write it. And as a matter of fact, what I wanted to write at first was the history of showgirls.
Mm-hmm.
But it was hard back then because there was no internet.
Right.
I had a 2-year-old. I felt like I needed to travel to Vegas and Paris and to get some firsthand stories. And I started, I did some interviews, and then I stopped. So 20 something years later, I picked it up again, but this time I decided it needed to be my story, and I decided on the memoir format, and Rhinestone Confidential is the result.
Well, that's great. You've got quite the background. So are there any particular stories that stuck out to you from your time working in the Harrah's showroom?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yes, I do write in my book, in my blurb on the back, I believe, some nights I was essential for the show going on, and one terrible night, I was essential for the whole show stopping.
Oh boy.
Yes, that wasn't really fun to write about, but you know, it's in the past.
Right.
And what part of my job was, besides sewing and repairing the costumes, I want to be clear here, it wasn't the designer.
Mm-hmm.
The productions had their own designer. I would just maintain the costumes. I did study costume design up at UNR also, but this job did not entail design. But another part of my job was getting the performers on stage, backstage, ready to go on stage.
Right.
And so in that instant where I stopped the show, basically in helping a showgirl get dressed, I knocked out her contact.
Oh no.
And I had no idea. She was like almost legally blind, and
Oh.
I'm like, well, can't you just go out there? And she's like, no. She was actually really nice about it. And so the show was cut short because she couldn't perform.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So
I have a few stories, some aren't always me. You know?
Yes, so that's what I was going to ask. It is a memoir, but I assume it includes maybe the showgirls that you worked with and the costume designer and people like that as well?
Yes, it did. And as a matter of fact, you know, thank goodness for modern technology, because I was able to contact people through Facebook. I was able to get their pictures to put in the book. In the book, they're in black and white, but if you buy the book online, they're in color. And I was able to verify my facts, because then I realized something, you know, did this happen the way I remember it? You know, and my husband also, I met him while I was backstage working, and he did lights, so he was able to help me with, I think I called, the singers were wearing, I think I called them earphones. And he's like, they're not earphones, they're headphones. And that might still not be the right term, I don't even know. But he would help me, and then a lot of the crew members I'm still friends with. And we would go to lunch, and I would take a notebook and I want to make sure that my facts were straight. So
that's a lot of work. So Have you thought about writing fiction, or is this, are you going to write another memoir, or?
I have another memoir in the works, yes. I'm on chapter 5. It's not flowing as easy as this one. It's about living in Midtown before it was Midtown.
Oh,
Yes, trying to fit in with the Joneses.
right.
It might sound a little mundane, but let me tell you, the first chapter opens with my neighbor trying to kill me. So, yeah.
Yeah, Reno has changed quite a bit. So
And that's actually what I was going to say, because the books like these, books like yours, are just so important because they provide a snapshot in time, whereas some may say that it's an era gone by, but it's not an era gone by for you. It's something that you lived right there. So, I mean, you can close your eyes in a second and be in that era. Is that what drove you to write something like this?
A little
Is
bit.
to capture those days?
I think yes, because honestly, I thought living in Reno was boring, and why did my parents pick here? They lived in New York City and San Francisco. I'm like, oh, why do we stay here in Reno? But then the older I got, the more I'm like, Reno has a lot to offer, and it actually has some neat things about it. And so I wanted to capture those moments in time. Exactly. Thank you. Yes.
No, that is a good point, because a lot of us, I think, have ended up in this area for various reasons. We didn't start out here. Native Nevadans, I think, are actually few and far between.
Yes.
But it is interesting to hear how people kind of decide that this area feels like home.
And it's also different. I mean, who has grown up in a casino?
Right.
I mean,
Definitely.
I touch on that in Rhinestone Confidential, and I will in my new book. I mean, we moved here so my dad could gamble.
Oh,
so,
boy.
you know, there's a little bit of that in there too. I'm calling it the Biggest Little City series.
So you have more planned than just the one you're working on?
That, and I don't know. I don't know if I have more in me, but one thing I kind of play around with is writing a book based on different books I've read, because I'm such a big reader. And different, you know, the little golden books were part of my childhood, whereas, and then the bodice rippers were my high school years.
Right.
Maybe that's in the works. I don't know. I do love to write, and there's nothing better than when that flow happens.
Yes.
So I write using notebooks in longhand, and then I transfer it to the computer, and that's where, you know, oh, now that I got that idea on paper, but now I can get it better on the computer.
Fine tune it a little bit.
Yes.
Yes. So I guess writing a book like this, then you would have to have a bit of an outline that, you know, different time periods and what happened when and who was involved and things like that.
For this book, I started out, each of my chapters was basically a different show, because we had different producers come in, and then on one chapter I focused on costumes, on one show I focused on headliners, because another part of my job was helping the headliners. Mostly I just stocked their dressing room and got them on stage and fixed minor things on their costumes. But and then as the book went on, I decided to go back, and I ended up working for the Oregon Shakespeare Festival in Ashland. So I included that chapter because I decided it was relevant, because it was so different than the showgirl life.
A compare and contrast kind of thing.
Yes, and not in a good way, because I wasn't that happy when I was in Ashland. It was very rigid and conservative compared to the casino. And then I also talk about, because I did move to New York City to study fashion journalism. I wanted to be a fashion writer. And when I came back home, that's how I discovered costume design at UNR in their theater program. So I talk a little bit about moving to New York City and what that was like, being a country mouse in the big city.
That would be a big change from Reno.
Very big change. I wanted a change. I was very stagnant at the time.
It's always nice to see other places because then you appreciate home more.
Oh, yes, I did. I still love New York City though.
Oh, yes. Some places are nice to visit, but you don't want to live there.
Exactly.
Well, sounds like an absolutely fascinating book, and I think
I think one thing that we've come out of all these interviews is it's like, boy, we want to check these books out now.
For sure.
Especially hearing you talk about your experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So where is your book, other than, of course, on the shelves at the Depot Gallery? Where can we find your book? Do you have a website, social media? Is it on the platforms?
Besides Amazon, it's at Grassroots Books, and it's going to be at the Nevada Historical Society, and I think that's it for now. This, of course, here at the Sierra Depot. I don't have a website, but I'm on Facebook as EM Star Author, and also Instagram, the same name.
Okay.
Okay. We'll make sure we get that all
Yes,
that information
we'll
into the documentation.
Well, this has been a really fascinating discussion, and I think these kind of stories are really fun to hear about because so many of us are fiction writers, and hearing about the differences between writing fiction and nonfiction can be really interesting.
So, thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate you too.
And we're having a great time talking to everybody, and thank you all for joining us for the Nevada Authors Network. We are here in the Depot Gallery Bookstore in Sparks, Nevada, in collaboration with Sierra Arts Foundation. So we hope you'll follow along and see all the authors that we've been talking to, and we'll see you again next time.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This has been the Nevada Author Network, a collaboration between the Sierra Arts Foundation and Two More Books, recorded at the Depot Gallery and Bookstore in Sparks, Nevada. Thank you for joining us.